and welcome to Perfectly Paranormal, episode 58. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today we are unpacking black magic, curses, spells, and the demonic beings that come with these detrimental actions, and how dark intentions can turn someone else's life upside down. Well, I have to say, I never ever thought that I would be talking about curses and in-service entities, as I've come to call them. Now they are a totally different kettle of fish to your average freelancing demonic being that's in our environment, just doing their own thing. Now, this journey of learning about these magic-based entities came through a number of recent experiences within the last sort of 18 months. Now, these experiences were both personal and client-based. It's interesting how management upstairs kind of introduce these aspects into our lives and then throw us in the deep end and we have to deal with them. And boy, I have to say, I've learnt a lot over this last 18 months about how to recognise and release black magic symptoms, how to understand the energy of dark magic invocations, and the fascinating interactions with dark magic beings, and also the dark magic realm itself, where these in-service beings reside. So curse entities, these beings are what I call in-service, as I mentioned earlier. Now I can hear you thinking, what does she mean? What does she mean by in-service? Well, these energy beings are contracted through various types of black magic invocations by humans to do harm to others in various ways. Now, these beings aren't necessarily interested in the emotional imprint food in people or places, like your freelancers, but are sent more on a mission depending on what's contained within the spell, curse, hex that's set by human intention. They're set on a mission to do harm. Now, I don't know much about black magic. It simply just isn't my field of interest. And I really don't intend on researching it. But I need to know enough to help myself and my clients ward off its detrimental effects. And within our homes, within ourselves, and also on our life journeys, as you're going to hear later on. Now, the in-service entities, they have a funny little habit of lingering like groupies, as you're going to hear me talk about later. I know I keep saying that, but there's so much to unpack in this episode. It is just really ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you how my normal energetic practices simply did not work on releasing these beings from my own personal space and from my clients. Now, I'm not going to share full-on real-life experiences like I normally do today, but more so, I want to share observations from 3 experiences with a kind of like mini stories. I'm going to share one of my experiences and 2 from my clients. They're all kind of tied together. It's interesting how management is what I call the high vibrational beings will introduce us to a new idea in our lives, and then it becomes part of our lives for good. So I think I'm going to be dealing with these beings quite frequently in my clients from now on. Now, like I was saying, there's 3 experiences today. One of mine, 2 of my clients. So one of the clients is in Australia and another is on the other side of the world. And we work together to release these magic invocations and set these beings free. Now, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? Yes, free, believe it or not. Well, some of them wanted to go free. Some of these energy beings like their work, and they're quite happy to return back to the dark magic realm once released from all sort of contractual responsibilities connected to human invocation of their services. Now, I'm going to use some rather unusual terms today because I don't know a lot of the black magic terms. Like I said, it's not my area of interest. So I've coined my own little phrases that I use to explain how these beings work, who they are, the difference between in-service beings, which are your curse entities attached to magic, and your freelancers, which are basically your dark energy beings, your demonic beings, just roaming around our environment, doing their own thing. Now, like I said, some of these beings like what they do, and they'll quite happily go back and wait for another job to be dished out to them. But there's others. There's other curse entities, other energy beings that have been tricked into servitude. Now, this is eons ago, and they just simply can't find a way out. So they continue to go about the drudgery of their work, unhappy and trapped. Now, my first experience came about after clearing 3 energy beings from one of my regular clients. Now, she had friends, well, they're not really friends now, but one of them was a past friend who had very deep connections with dark magical practices. And this woman used to use these invocations quite often on people who didn't do what she wanted. Now, my client knew there was something up when she started to experience bad luck, like electrical issues in the home, items breaking randomly, like really freakish, strange accidents. She had sleep disturbances, and she just didn't feel right. She saw her doctor, of course, like I always tell people to do, see your doctor, your mental health practitioner, then it might be energetic. And all the tests she had done came back normal. So she knew the issue was energetic. Now, these weren't just one episode of bad luck, one electrical issue. It was ongoing for about 4 months. And she's like, I just don't know what to do. I know Anna deals with energetic issues, so I'm just going to contact her and see what she can find out. So tuning into a home one afternoon, I went through my normal clearing process. I cleared everything I found, which was your emotional imprints, trauma imprints, any paranormal beings that were lingering in the client. And at that time, the 3 entities that I found, I assumed they were just your freelancers, because I didn't know about in-service beings yet. Now, I cleared them from the client, then from myself, because as I always say, the big Ds, as I call them, the demonic beings, they always transfer to the energy workers. They hop from person to person. That's just their MO. It's just what they do. But later in the day, after I'd cleared them from myself, I still didn't feel quite right. I know when my energy is off. I get brain fog. My balance is a little bit off. Things just don't seem to flow the way they normally do. Now, I didn't have any unusual happenings or accidents or sleep issues, but there was something strange going on. I felt like I was being followed. And I don't mean like at your social distancing of like 1.5 meters or more. This was really close. Like, it's the only way I can describe it. I felt like someone was standing consistently about 20 centimetres from my body. And everywhere I went, it or they went too. These little silent followers, these little invisible squatters were in my space. It kind of feels like that person or that friend who likes to get really, really close when they talk to you. They like to really get in your space, as people call it. But on an energetic level, they are actually standing in your auric field, because most auras range from about 60 centimetres from the physical body up to about 1 metre from the body. And the aura is like a big energy bubble. Now, when I dowsed for paranormal presence, these 3 entities had come from the client, like I expected. Yep, I don't feel right. That's the only job I did yesterday. They're still here. So they're just lingering. They were quiet. They were unassuming. They were just hanging around. And I'm like, I don't like this. They come in, they go. That's my normal practice. I don't like it when things change. Now, I didn't panic and I didn't worry. And I'm very practical in my thinking. And when I thought about this situation, I knew that I'd inherited their contracts from the client. So if these are in-service beings, they've been contracted by that third party to affect my friend overseas, and then I'd removed them. So their contract had come with them to me. And these beings were stuck because they'd been assigned to my friend, not me. And they were kind of here. They were confused. And I like to call it a bit like limbo. They were in a bit of a limbo. They couldn't go. They were just really, really stuck. And you're not going to believe it. It took a whole week. Yes, 7 days. It took me 7 days of trying all these new different ideas, all these different tactics, all these different strategies to release these beings. And look, I am so creative when it comes to problem solving. Everything I talk to you about is basically stuff I've learnt myself. I've got in a situation and I'm right, how do I get out of it? So this is no different. And with each new technique I used, this is the funny bit, these entities would go and I'm like, yes! And I would feel much, much better energetically and physically, but there's always a but. Within 20 minutes, they'd be back again. Like they were on some sort of energetic bungee cord. Ugh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm sitting there tapping my chin and I'm thinking about it and I'm writing down prayers and release statements. I'm even looking online. Now I'm starting to get desperate. Can't find my own solutions. I'm going looking for what other people have used. And you know what? Nothing I found worked. Absolutely nothing. Now I knew this was a serious levelling up of my skills. And I just knew it. I knew management, which is what I call my spiritual team, if you want to call them that, must have thought I was getting a little bit too comfortable with the standard energy work I was doing. And just threw me in the deep end, as we Aussies call it, sink or swim. So thinking again, thinking, I must be missing something because they go and then they come back again. So I wasn't really seeing the full picture. And I thought, I'm going to contact my overseas client anyway, because I always contact people 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week, sometimes 2 weeks later, just to see how they're getting on after their energetic clearing. And as we were emailing, I thought I'm just going to ask her if she has any knowledge of magical practices. Because she wasn't part of what this other woman was doing, this third-party woman, but she's going to have more information than I. She's going to know more about magical stuff than what I do. And I thought she might be able to enlighten me somehow, help me find a process that works. And yes, she did. She had a process that she'd been taught for spirit transitioning, as she used to call it. These beings aren't technically spirits, but I was at the stage where I'm like, I am ready to try anything. So between us, we got online and we used an online platform where we could look at each other through video and have a conversation. And we were able to adapt that process that she'd learnt to suit these curse entities. And I'm like, yes, it worked. Yay, it really worked. Now, the process worked for about a month or two, but then we had to adapt it again because management, as I call all higher vibrational beings, really make us work for the solutions we need. There's no, there you go, let's hand it out on a silver platter. Just use that and it'll all be good. No, that's not how it works. And these beings did go for a while, and then it got changed again. So I'm just so over it now. I didn't get upset, which was really interesting. There was no resentment, there was no anger, there was no nothing. I was just like in this nothing blank space, which is in a really good place to be when you're being challenged. Because when you're in that open blank space, as I call it, your spiritual team can get in. They can give you ideas. They can give you suggestions. Now, we're going to move on to the second client. This is a local lady who lives here in Tasmania who'd been experiencing some bad luck. And she'd had accidents literally all her life, right from teenagehood. And nothing in life felt good. There was no fun. And it didn't even feel like it was worthwhile being here. And again, I tuned into this lady with her permission. And I found 2 curse beings, because now when I tune into people, I ask, are there any spirits present? Are there any elementals? Are there any dark, demonic, or curse entities? So they're my sort of 5 levels that I go through. Now with my dowsing, identified these 2 beings that had been there, get this, they'd been there for at least 30 years. Could you imagine carrying around these two beings that were instigating all this bad luck and all these things that this lady went through? Now, these beings had been sent to her from a previous partner who'd held a really deep grudge. And these entities, as much as they linger in the background, they really relished their work. Because, that's what they do. It's their job. So I suppose we can't really hold it against them. They're just doing their job. And they lingered in the background. And they were upsetting her thought processes. They were manipulating her emotions and her mental health tendencies. Like I said before, these beings can't make you do anything. This is your dark, your demonic, and now your curse entities. They can't make you do anything. But if you have vulnerabilities or tendencies towards a particular addiction or a particular issue in your life, a particular trauma that's triggered you to behave a certain way, they're going to poke that. Because then they're going to get the results that they want. That's what I've learnt over all these years. And these beings, once they realised I was on the job, on the case, they were a little bit disgruntled that they would be leaving this lady. But, so what to do with this lot? Because I tried the spirit transition and it's like, nah, we don't want to go. And I'm like, okay, they don't want to go. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. I'm back at the learning level. So I'm thinking. These guys didn't want to use the spirit transition method, as I just mentioned. They just refused, like outright refused to go. And you can't force them to do anything. Everything has to be done through free will, because we all have free will. Whether a demonic being or whether we're a human being, we've all got free will. So thinking. Again, I realised that thinking of these beings like workers sent to do a job. Like people who were contracted, like a bunch of tradies who were contracted to do a particular job. They've been paid to do a job. They've got a contract and they can't leave until that contract is finished. So I asked, through my dowsing, do you have contracts? Now, technically, they're not allowed to lie. If I ask a question, they have to tell me the truth. So now I'd stumbled on the core component. We had one lot of beings that were quite happy to go because they were sick of being in service. They didn't want to do it in the first place. And they're like, please help me. Away they go, off into the afterlife. But this lot were contracted. Now, I had to work out, was there one contract for the group of beings, or do they each have individual contracts? And it works out they've got individual contracts, so it's just more work. Like, seriously, there's no wafting your sage and away they go. I'm not going to get on that soapbox. I talked about that in another episode. I can't remember the number, but if you look through my episodes, you'll find my personal interactions and comments on using sage and crystals. Now, I have to say that this element of my work nearly did my head in. Like, there's not much that gets to me, but it was starting to become really challenging. And I'm like, thinking again. These energy beings were used to following rules. I like rules. I like procedures. That's what gets me through the work I do. So I established some new rules. Now, with these beings, they weren't allowed to come to me. Not like your standard demonic or your curse entities that want to transition. The archangels would step in. And this is what I saw in my mind. So I knew. Remember? Blank space. No personal perceptions, no me trying to make anything happen. I'm observing what I'm being shown. And what I saw were two big, strong hands ripping up a contract. So I went, right. So the archangels are going to energetically rip up each of these beings' individual contracts. And they were now made what I call null and void. And these entities could return back to the dark magic realm, knowing that they had fulfilled their contract, which they had done, and there'd be no punishment coming their way for leaving their assignment, and that they could stay there back in the dark magic realm until they're reassigned to another job. So I'm like, yes, aha, finally I've got success. And I'm thinking, don't get too comfortable, Because doing this sort of work, there's always twists and turns. You have to be flexible when you do energy work. You have to be adaptable. And boy, the next level up was truly, truly mind-boggling. So now we're going to step into my topsy-turvy experience from mid-July 2023 to mid-February 2024. But I must say that I have it manageable. And it's under control now to the best that I can do. It's not 100%, but if I can get through life with all my faculties and functioning at least 90% of my normal self, I've got to be happy with that. Now, until management decides to share more information about how I can really, fully, truly get rid of these black magic contentions, I'm just going to have to keep dealing with things the way that they are. A friend of mine experienced a black magic attack one night, and she contacted me for help the next day. Now, this lady is really energetically sensitive, and she knew something energetic was up. She'd been experiencing really horrific nightmares, and that's her sign that there's something in the house or in her personal space, which is within your energy field, in your mind. She didn't have a normal, lovely sort of dreams and peace-filled sleepy state. She was having these really horrible dreams and waking up in a bit of a panic. And she was thinking about them all day. They just simply would not leave her mind. Now, her energy felt like it was being zapped. She was tired. She was having these random bouts of crying for no reason. She was developing really strong senses of anxiety. Not panic and not paranoia, just really, really anxious, which is not her. She just couldn't think straight. And these issues, they were really impacting on her life big time. So as usual, putting myself in the middle of these problems to help my clients, because that's what you do when you're employed to do energy work. I set to unpacking her energetic issues. And I went about looking for the standard sort of build-ups of emotional imprints, trauma imprints, any paranormal beings that might be present, any black magic, curses, spells, portals, cording, all that sort of thing I normally talk about. And I removed all the detrimental energy that I found and the energy beings. But I found that these were not your normal freelance demonic beings. But they were more curse energies, as I call them. Now, curse beings, they can be attached to spells, curses, hexes, jinxes, all sorts of other types of black magic incantations. I just call them curse entities or curse beings because it just makes it easier for me to keep it straight in my brain. Now, these beings chose to go back to the dark magic realm after being released from their contracts. But this action upset the black magic practitioner who'd sent out this negative energy. So now she was harming my friend, this local lady, and also myself because I disrupted what she wanted to do to this lady. Now, I only interceded because that's my job. If I'm professionally employed, paid to do a job, I will do it. Otherwise, I don't interfere because otherwise you're stepping into someone else's their karmic balance, as I call it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my friend was having all those symptoms happening. Now, I started experiencing the hellish nightmares. I was having bad luck, strange accidents, kind of similar to my friend, and I got onto it straight away. There's no mucking around with this. This is totally new level of working with energy. I think I'd got way too comfortable in my process and it was just time. Time to level up and to work with new clients with a new level of energetic issues. Anyway, these curse entities sent with the spells this time were denser and heavier than what I'd experienced with the two previous clients. Now, these guys weren't going to leave willingly. They just weren't. They weren't going to go to their forever place in the afterlife or back to the dark magic realm. So I thought, oh my gosh, a new process had to be designed with management's help. So we put together a plan, and anything that black magic can create through intention, you can create the opposite with intention. Right? It's about staying calm, being practical, being flexible and adaptable, and thinking. Not panicking, thinking. So this is what I did. Management and I put together a plan that all dark magic beings coming to me via black magic invocations to do me harm were to be instantly and painlessly transposed into God's light, and they would return to the point of creation. Now, you could call that heaven, you can call it whatever you want, but these beings were removed from their reality. That's the only other option. If they're not going to go of their own free will and they don't want to go back to the dark magic realm, to wait for another assignment, I'm not having them hanging around me, like building up 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, because it impacts on my energy and I can't focus to do my work. So I said to management, what can we do that is going to be practical? This is the solution that came up. And I said to them, it has to be painless. There has to be no pain that these beings experience. So now, when I get them coming to me, I feel them coming. My energy field changes. But before they get to me, they actually make a choice. I feel that pause. It's hard to explain unless you're really energy sensitive. Some of them refuse and they just go straight back to the dark magic realm because they know what's going to happen. But what I'm finding, at least 60 to 70% of the time, is that the ones that are coming, remember I said free will, they know what's going to happen. They are surrendering to the light because they didn't choose to be in service. They were shackled or they were tricked decades and centuries and eons ago into doing this work by whatever means was used. They don't want to be here. They don't want to be doing this work. And I say that they go off into their forever place. They go off into a place where they are back at that point of creation. Wish I had more information on that. It hasn't been given to me yet. But if there is more information given, I'll do a little post edit on this episode later on. Now, this worked. And it seriously freed up my energy because I'd laid boundaries, but they were respectful boundaries. They weren't on the attack, they were on the defense. All about the way you think about things and what you actually do. If I had have set out to attack all demonic beings or all curse entities coming to me, then I'm going to cop a big backlash from the dark magic realm. They're going to come at me in waves and how dare you? But I didn't. We worked. This is management and me. This is the crafty thinking. We worked from a self-defense aspect. That is how we did it. And that is what worked. So it's not about attack. It's about defense. It's about self-defense. It's about self-protection and self-preservation. Now, I'm not sharing my processes today for working with curse entities, black magic removal, transference, or deactivation, because this stuff is not to be messed with. Seriously, if I didn't have to do this on the odd occasion, I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, hell no, no pun intended. This stuff is real. It is real and it is not to be messed with for the sake of curiosity or a bit of fun or a party trick. These entities and black magic are real and they are seriously not to be trifled with. And no eye rolling coming from all those people out there that are listening, that are rolling their eyes going, it's all BS, because it's not. I have to say I didn't believe fully in this level of energy attack until I experienced it. Now I have more understanding and I only deal with what comes my way. I never go looking for connection or interaction with dark magic practitioners of any denomination. If you like this spooky content of this episode today, please hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification when every new episode is released to the public. And stay tuned for many, many more episodes unpacking the strange and unseen aspects of the paranormal world around us. So I hope this episode's got you thinking on a new level about the energy world around us and being aware of signs and symptoms and things that happen to you Now, not everything that happens is going to be energetic. It's not all paranormal. It's not all black magic. It's not all curse entities and demonic beings. But just keep it in the back of your mind. If it's something you can't tangibly explain, you're feeling energetically affected, your doctor can't find a physical reason why it's happening, your mental health practitioner can't find a tangible reason why you're feeling a certain way, it might be energetic. So in episode 59, we are talking paranormal drama. So what does she mean, I hear you say? Well, I see a lot of over-dramatised behaviours in regards to the paranormal world around us, and mostly by people looking for attention through using various methods to get noticed. Now, this is just my opinion, just my observations, but as always, this whole podcast is about expanding people's minds and just offering a different perspective. And I'm not judging people for what they do and why they do it. But look, I see this all too often to ignore it. So I thought, why not dedicate a whole episode to unpacking what is paranormal drama, why people do it, and what they get out of it. So stay tuned for a somewhat interesting perspective from someone who interacts with the paranormal world around us every day. So thank you for joining me today. And don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.